Greetings and salutations, this is Jason Silverain and today I'm returning to Crest to take a look at the latest module updates. Now before I begin, it's been a while since I've reviewed Crest, so I'm just going to go over a few basics. Crest is developed and published by Eat, Create, Sleep and was released in August 2015. It's currently available for $7.99, though it's often on sale with up to 50% off, and it's also got a supporter edition at $10.99. where the soundtrack and art book are included, though these can be purchased separately. The game boasts Steam trading cards, but no achievements at this time. Now, the latest module is still in beta, and to access it, you have to right-click on Crest in your library, click on Properties, select Betas, and select the drop-down menu and choose Unstable. After that, the game should update, though if you're having trouble with updating, you may have to restart Steam. And after that, you will have access to the preview of the exploration module. Now, the module itself is expected to mostly focus on the land and a few other minor features. Now, so we should get new animals, islands for our people to inhabit, previous features to be polished, but it does come with a few bugs. Now, known issues with the build is the energy bar of followers doesn't visually go down, and Eat, Create, Sleep are still trying to figure out whether it's going down internally. And by that I mean sort of in the data itself. Warriors can form clusters and stand there fighting forever or just not interacting, so wars are a bit of at a pause, and children will occasionally not want to move between places, or if they can't find somewhere suitable to live, the parents might move away rather than the kids moving away. So these are all issues that are known and the developers are working on them. One thing I can say for Eat, Create, Sleep is they do a very good early access game, their modular system is working, and while their updates are far and few between, they really do polish the game with each update, and they really do just not leave bugs outstanding. Now, with that all covered, shall we see the actual improvements in the game itself? Now, looking at our glorious town of Monkey Thicket, there are a few new things that have definitely popped up. Now when we have children in the town, we have these little cradles, which is a very nice touch, and actual models for kids. Land itself has a few new terrain types, but there's the new animals. There's some hyenas there. Oh, and our animals do breed now. In the previous builds there was a problem with animals not breeding and thus dying out rather rapidly. You know, even without your villagers hunting them, they just vanish. Also, there's far more prey animals than predators, which is also another nice touch to keep that environment stable and less likely to just collapse. And now looking at the map, we have separate islands. Oops, there we go. Now, some of you may be looking at this and going, ooh, this looks a bit rough. I shall point out I have my graphics on the lowest settings available, simply because I wanted speed to be the main thing I can do when going around, and also with my setup, I don't really want to risk overheating. Not that the game is particularly intensive, it's just the fact I have a terrible rig. Now you can see that my second town has already been developed within moments of starting the game, and the placement for the towns has gotten a little better. There was previously issues with it appear, you know, you'd have a town here and maybe the next one would settle there, you know, far too close together. Now that's still relatively close, but in terms of the actual space on the island, it's not that close. Also, you've got these nice little coastal towns now, what I really like. I like the little addition of fishing, that's quite good. And the town information has been, well, improved greatly. Now you can see my city needs, faith, and how much they like particular commandments, which is really handy. And those will change over time, depending on what the city's needs are. You can see what their expertise is. You can see their style of doctrine. Their actual capabilities of warfare. And follower information. So let's have a look at this town. They have... they've got lots of offspring. But they don't have much fellowship. Well, they've only just started, that's fine. Well, yeah, they're unaffected by that, so they're not too bothered. They don't really have a doctrine yet. I have very little warfare. Once hopefully it'll keep that way. I don't really want my towns to be murdering one another. Now, there's a few quirks of the system that's still in here, but you're more likely to notice them before really cause anything that will mess you up. For example, I've got old followers here. Now, I want my old followers to be, you know, happy. So I could go, old followers, do what makes you happy. Or I could go, consume. Old followers, consume happy followers. Maybe we can even have old followers consume followers who have children. So yes, you're less likely to accidental cannibalism now. Thanks to the little update regarding what exactly you're doing. Now, some of you may think that takes away some of the fun, but for those of us who've been around since the beginning of Early Access, it does help quite a lot. Now, for those amongst you who have not seen the Faith update, the previous module expansion, the timeline is available here, which lets you know exactly what you've done. And it's a little strange, but it's actually quite a cool way of going through the previous history, with this being your earliest point, and then spiraling outwards. And you've got your helper here. And once some followers start dying, I'll be able to go and talk to them in the afterlife and get a few general help hints. Granted, those help hints in the past have been very, very generic, but we'll see if they've changed at all. So, with our first follower now unfortunately ceased to be, go. You can actually see what advice they have for us. Fair enough. So, that's just advice to socialise. And there you go. From this screen, you can sort of flick back and forth. For those of you unfamiliar with Crest, and this is the first time you're viewing, Crest is a very much hands-off god sim. You only really interact through commandments. You don't really have any god powers. Not that I wouldn't mind seeing minor god powers, like nothing that can directly interfere with the world, but like minor blessings would be nice. Being able to sort of cure people of disease, once disease becomes a thing in the game, if disease becomes a thing in the game, increase fertility, very passive things that could, which rather than the typical, what's a good example? I mean, well, Goddess is an absolutely terrible example of the god genre, but that requires you to do everything, and your followers are absolutely useless. This is sort of the reverse. As a god, you're relatively powerless, but here your followers do all the work, and in a way they sort of just adapt and do their own thing. And like, look at them go, look at them fishing. I love these animations. Really good. But having sort of very benign and low-key powers would probably add a bit more to the game, because right now, while I don't mind it mostly being create your commandments and set them going and see how they evolve and see which ones work and which ones don't and which ones your people will actually listen to, I can see why some of the criticisms that there's not actually much to do in the game itself are somewhat valid. People aren't used to such a hands-off approach. Reminds me very much of a game called Pax Imperium back think it was released back in 1995, 1996. It was a space sim I used to really like, and it was very, very slow paced. I could actually read a book whilst playing it. I actually read quite a few books whilst playing it, and I feel like Crest is the same sort of thing. I could pretty much do other things while playing this game. That's not a bad thing. It's quite calm and quite chilled, and I do like that. But, oh, looks like there's a war going on. Why is there a war going on? When did that start? Now, in regards to the interface, the tooltips have remained to be clear and concise. I do like the fact you just hover over something and know what it is, and there's very little that you can really say in the negative. Granted, sometimes finding information is difficult, but this version has improved again, as I've mentioned, with the cities. It's very easy to see what's going on, though it is a bit difficult to understand why things are as they are. For example, I've got this information about the commandments and what people like and what people don't like. It doesn't really give me a reason why it's disliked, though, or why it's liked. It's just one of those, you just have to trial and error it, really, and try and figure out what they need. You can see that's one of the bugs in action there, with the warriors being stuck. I wonder what happens if I try and tell them to stop fighting. Okay. Happy followers, do not destroy happy followers. Do not destroy war. No, no, no. Was involved with war. There we go. Apparently neither of them are in a war. Maybe it was just a one-off skirmish then. They seem to be really disliking anything that tells them not to kill one another, which is a rather curious thing. Do we have any more dead people? No, though apparently we did. Fair enough. People are generally happy. I'm a god of the land then, apparently. Now, going into a little bit further regarding information, you now can click on people and you can get quite a lot of information. Apparently they're eradicating vermin. And what classes as vermin? Maybe they weren't fighting one another, maybe they were just killing something else, which I just didn't see. Fish produce food, fair enough. There we go. Which food the follower has, how happy they are, how many babies they've had, where they're currently living. And yes, the game keeps growing. And the various different roles each character has. I've got another town over here. And I think that's pretty much it regarding the game at this point. I am vastly impressed by the new ecosystem. Normally in most of my games, I'd be out of animals by now. They'd all be dead. Though that said, I am worried there might be a Dwarf Fortress problem potentially in this build. For those of you who played Dwarf Fortress, there's a thing that can happen called a catsplosion. In Dwarf Fortress, cats breed very, very quickly. And, well, you can't kill them. Or you shouldn't kill them because your dwarves use them as pets and they get very attached to them. And their deaths can set your dwarves off in a doom spiral of depression and murder everything. But the main problem with a catsplosion is you get so many cats breeding and appearing that it slowly increases your CPU usage due to the number of, well, objects and things in the game increasing a lot quickly. And that herd is getting relatively large. I mean, that one's... Yeah, look at them. Look how many there is now. Now, my computer's unstable. I'm going to just outright say I've not got the best gaming rig to handle this sort of thing. So, with them not really killing one another, I've not really seen the animals hunting each other. Maybe I've just missed it. But I've not seen the predators hunting the prey. I'm not sure how that works. I don't even know if there's any animations regarding it. I am seeing that as a potential issue in the future of, if you don't hunt down these critters, you could just find your game lagging and potentially crashing. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get my guys to go across this island, to this island, and I think I'm going to go follow us in the explore the ocean and other islands. There we go. Coast. Migrate to across the ocean. And I'll see if that works, and if it does, well, we'll have one more final thing to just close this video on. So it took a little while, but here we go. We have our guys. They've actually migrated across the island. And eradicating vermin. What do they consider vermin? Wait, what? What? You're a warrior of a different land. What are you doing here? How curious! I'm rather confused, but I love the little boats sailing around. I really like the exploration. I didn't even realise these guys had set up here. I just kept checking this side of the island, thinking, oh, they're going to set up there. It wasn't until some time later that, well, I saw them here. So if this is just the beta of the upcoming exploration update, then I am thrilled. I would love to see this slightly bit more polished. We get rid of a couple of the bugs that are here and there, and another solid update. But thank you for watching. I hope this has been informative. I really do recommend Crest, and I do recommend picking it up when it's on sale. It's definitely worth the money. If you want a calmer game, which is just quite laid back, fun to play, and one of those games you can do something else off while you're playing it. You don't have to sort of hover over it either. And it's got a lot of charm. These guys are constantly having updates, and they're really good about providing information and requesting feedback. And the game's got some growth to go. But thank you for watching.